glad you're here. So, I'm Ed Colton. Welcome to another episode of Grind Culture Podcast.
Yeah.
As you can see, we have a new setup here.
Yeah, we're looking fresh.
Yeah. So what we're always trying to do here in our podcast is trying to like evolve, and if that means get new equipment, get new cameras, get new setups, we're going to do so. So luckily, we're in a good position where we were able to do that. Hopefully you guys could hear us better. I think that was like a point of emphasis, at least for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it sounded good, but now it's going to sound real good.
Right. So you guys can hear
exciting.
Hear us clear, hear us better. But yeah, this episode, we brought a special guest. Colton, could you do the pleasure of introducing our guest here?
Yes. So today we get the honor and privilege to have our good friend Cameron, also AKA Big Mac Brews.
That's right.
AKA Mac Gooden.
That's right.
AKA just our good friend Cameron.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Cameron is a former employee / coworker / good friend of ours. So, yeah, that is Cameron. Cameron, how about you introduce yourself? Let's talk about where you started, where our friendship started, and then also where you're at now.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you for having me. So happy to see you guys. Yeah. Feel like I'm being interrogated at the moment, staring at both your eyes. No, we're good.
Feels like an interview a little bit.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't think I've ever been like interviewed.
This is not an interview. You are a friend. You know that. But I guess where I would like to start with this conversation is how you met Colton, because obviously I was new to this trio, but you guys had a history. So if you may just give a brief of how you met Colton.
You got it. I graduated college, moved out to Temecula with my wife, and I was at a point like trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Career-wise, I had like no experience with anything or like things that I was really interested in besides coffee. So I just started looking into coffee jobs, seeing if that was even possible. I never wanted to like be a barista because I never thought I could handle like the pressure of orders and like mean customers. So I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And so like I would check Indeed every day for anything coffee related that wasn't like a barista job. And I found Temecula Coffee Roasters.
Did you know that working at a coffee roasting facility or just a coffee roaster in general was an option at the time?
Not at all. I didn't really know what I was looking for because I wasn't into roasting at the time. I was just trying to find something that wasn't a barista job. And so that was like hard because I was looking for something I didn't know existed.
Right.
And this one just so happened to pop up. And yeah, I interviewed like a couple days later. And then I came in and met with Colton, and I was like, oh, dude, this guy has the same stoke that I do. And I'm like, I want to be around people like that. Mm-hmm. And rest is history with that. Got hired.
Yeah.
Just killed it here. Like, we were just like killing it. Like, everything that we did it at 10. We were working hard. Like, we just got after it every day. Like,
yeah,
I also wanted to be on this podcast because of like the grind culture. Like, I'm a part of that with you guys, like, you know, in my own way. But like, we were grinding here, man, like just trying to like build up what we knew was going to be a really great thing.
Could you guys explain, just to kind of tie that in, before I started, I'm sure this saying that you guys had been established already, but I heard it when I first started, and it was always keep grinding, right?
Always be grinding.
Always be grinding. Yeah.
Could you guys, ABG.
Yeah, so ABG, that was your guys' kind of motto, if I'm not mistaken, right? Just like the always be grinding, ABG.
Yeah, so there was kind of one before that. And let me go back a little bit and talk about what you kind of talked about, Cameron. when Cameron started working here, he was the first coworker that I had that was on the same level of stoke about coffee that I was, and the same level of expertise and like wants in the coffee world. Mm-hmm. Right? Because everybody here was just here to have a job. They wanted to just pack coffee. They wanted to go home. But me and Cameron, we wanted to hang out here. We wanted to be around coffee. We wanted to push coffee. We wanted to push ourselves and see how well we could develop ourselves and in the coffee world, and see how far we could take this place. Mm-hmm. And we would, even on our off time, it was always like talking about coffee equipment or just coffee in general, or it was, anything. And
talking about our setups, talking about like what we wanted to do.
Yeah, we both had our bars at home. We were always buying gear together, and
Tinkering.
Probably too much gear.
Too much gear, for sure. Mm-hmm.
But we were just on that same page, and we were able to like really push this place because of that. Because not only because we're just good workers, but we loved what we were doing. Mm-hmm. So we pushed ourselves to take this place to the next level. And I think, and truly, without Cameron, this place would not be as it is if I did not have him alongside me, supporting me as his manager, but supporting me as a friend and supporting me as a coffee professional. So we were really able to push it. And one of the first sayings that came to be was, I think we came up with "to the moon" first.
Yeah.
So that was like really our thing, like,
because it was around the time of like Bitcoin and like NFTs and stuff, and so that saying was like around. But like with how much we were working and like where we were trying to take this place, we were just like, dude, I'll see you on the moon, man. Like, we're in the same spaceship together. Like, that's where we're headed, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take this to the moon. Like, sky's the limit. And like we would always like on the desktop of the computer put like little like rocket ships going to the moon and stuff, just to like, little motivation things.
Or if we left like notes for each other for like the next day or something, it'd always be like ABG at the bottom or "to the moon," something like that.
Yeah. So I'll let you talk about like ABG, because you really are the one that came up with that. Like I'll let you talk about it. So
yeah, like I was just grinding coffee, like packing orders all day, and like you would see other people, if their grinder like wasn't running, like I kind of felt like maybe you might be going a little slow, or like are we working as hard as we can? And I found that like if my coffee grinder wasn't running while I was packing orders, like I wasn't going fast enough. Like I need to be working on 3 orders at once, and something always has to be grinding, because like otherwise you slow down. Like you got too many orders to like not be having your coffee grinder running. So I was like, it's an obvious like always be grinding coffee while you're working, because like otherwise you're gonna be slow. But then it's also otherwise it also means like always be grinding, always be working hard, because that's something like we find very valuable and that we're all about. And so always be grinding. I just put up a little sign in front of my grinder on my station, ABG, just to remind myself, like, keep that grinder running, like keep pushing it. Like we're heading to the moon. Like you gotta keep grinding to get there.
That's right. So I came in, I think, on the apex of when that was really established, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe because I think you were here a year already into me working here.
Yeah.
But as soon as I came in, Colton interviewed me. I talked about that. He hired me, and immediately I was gravitated toward like his energy and like his style. I could just tell like, oh yeah, it's my kind of guy. I would love to be working here. And then I met you because you trained me, and I think that must have been one of the first things I heard come out of your mouth was the always be grinding thing when you were training me.
Sounds about right.
Because you were kind of just on it. Like you have that personality where you can accommodate anybody's energy, I think. So when I was working here, when I was starting here and I was getting trained by you, I just gravitated toward your energy and toward Colton's energy. And I think that's where I got like my hustle and bustle as far as here goes, TCR. And I don't think I ever lost it. So Colton's right when he says, a lot of everything that we do here now has been stemmed by some of the things that you've established here. So that's why I think I texted you the other day. I was like, yeah, your name's never forgotten here. Your name gets brought up every now and then, whether it's like by me or Colton or Titus DJ or anybody else that just knows you,
Yeah.
Brian,
Yeah.
like your name is just always brought up at some point, because like you just put such a staple in this place, in Colton's life, and obviously in mine. That's why I think we wanted you to be our first guest, because our relationship with you is like so tight apart from this.
Heck yeah.
And I guess we could say like some of this, if it wasn't for Cameron, we probably wouldn't be like doing this kind of thing. Maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't, but I think we should give a little bit of credit to you for even like us being in like in the now of TCR, like us being able to do this, me and Colton talking about just our daily lives, how we like connect with not only like our coffee and our love for like working here, but our connection with you too. So
I'm again so happy to be here, humbled by you guys and your kind words. It's just, yeah, we're still all in the same spaceship, you know, whether I'm working here or not. It's like we're all taking coffee to the next level. Like that's all that all three of us are focused on, is like taking specialty coffee to the moon. Like so, you know, even though I don't work here, it's like we're all on the same mission still.
That's right. So along those lines, let's tell the viewers and the listeners what you are doing now.
Yeah, how have you taken that culture into what you're doing with what we have here, Abode?
Yeah, so I stepped into a new opportunity last February, late February. There was a new coffee shop opening in Wildemar, and just I only saw one promo video and I was sold. Like they shot like a little promo, and I was like, I know this shop is about everything that we care about, like specialty coffee, doing things the right way, dialing in shots, like actually caring about coffee. And there's a lot of coffee shops in our area. I wouldn't say that a lot of them are doing things that way. There's a couple, but I was really interested in becoming part of like a cafe and like learning that side of the business. And so when this opportunity came up, I jumped on it and I got hired like the next day, and I was like, let's go. Like I was like, you could ask my boss. I told her, I was like, you know, after I'd been there already for a year, I told her, I was like, I never planned on being here longer than a couple months. Like I was just trying to learn some stuff and dip, because I never wanted to like take customers' orders and stuff like that.
What's her name again? Could you mention their names?
Yes, my bosses Sari and Carla, lovely mother-daughter duo that run the shop.
And who's the dude that runs the Instagram, or the guy that does professional filmography work? What's his name?
That's Gavin Nations. That's Sadi's fiance. They're getting married in September.
I love his work, by the way.
Good.
I looked at his Instagram the other day and I was like blown away. I was like, oh yeah, this dude knows what he's doing, like behind a camera.
Yeah, he like, even we'll just be like, hey, we need to shoot this like promo for a event that we have coming up, like can you just do something? And he set up something in the corner of our shop, and we shot something in like 5 minutes, and he turned it into like this sick promo for our house party event that we did. And it's just, yeah, his stuff is so clean, and he gets our Instagram's like vision too. We also have a photographer, Alex, who does like most of the photos for the thing for our Instagram, and she's incredible too. But yeah, like being a part of a cafe is like totally different than the roasting side, like the roasting, the packaging, the shipping side. And I was like really interested in that. So now I'm the manager of the coffee shop Abode Coffee in Wildemar.
Yeah, shout out.
I hooked the boys up with some cold brew today.
Yeah, your cold brew that you made.
Yeah.
Starting here, right?
Yeah, so like when I was working here, I would always take home beans and always be tinkering with cold brew. And by the time I'd gotten that new job at Abode, I had been messing around, testing individual variables of cold brew like every day for more, like a year almost. Like I had been messing with cold brew recipes forever, and I always thought like open my own cold brew business or something like that, because I was like, I just wanted to have something else that I was working on. And when I got hired at Abode, I was like, I don't want anybody else doing the cold brew. I don't think a lot of people do cold brew right.
Yeah, definitely not.
And my boss, Sari, she was like, I hate cold brew. She's like, I don't drink cold brew. A lot of cold brew is terrible. And I was like, challenge accepted. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. And like now, if you go into our shop, my name is next to the cold brew, Max Cold Brew.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one that touches it. I don't let anybody else make it. If I'm out on a day that I'm off, I'm driving over to Wildemar and I'm making some. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
What if there's a time you're like on vacation and you just don't serve it?
I plan ahead. I like brew enough batches ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want that to happen. But yeah, I wanted to hook my guys up with some cold brew. Lots of love put into that. Best cold brew in the area, I hear. That's what they say.
I'm a fan.
I haven't
fan.
said that, but
I will
people say
agree.
that.
I will agree.
Yeah. So one of the things that I kind of wanted to know, and it doesn't really have to be into detail, but I know the kind of manager that Colton is now, almost 2 years here, and you having the friendship that you do have with Colton. Colton's managerial style is very like you have, I think you have like a lot of trust in your employees. Sometimes almost too much trust. I don't want to say that, but like a little bit, you know?
You can say it. Sometimes I'm too nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to like even mention it honestly, but I think you have a like very balanced managerial style where like you could befriend somebody, and also when you walk into a room, you kind of have like a presence about you where like, oh yeah, work needs to get done. Like not very like powerful. I mean, powerful in a way like it's kind of like low key powerful, but like you're not like very aggressive about it. You just
Right.
walk in, people know like, okay, yeah, stuff needs to get done.
Yeah.
It's a very good balance. What is there a difference in like that kind of presence with a manager at Abode? Would you, now that you're a manager, but previously when you were being managed by somebody else, like at a coffee shop, is that very kind of like same style?
Similar to how you guys were saying, like there's a lot of things that are here that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for me. There's a lot of things in my professional life that wouldn't be the way they are without Colton or TCR.
Fair.
A lot of the ways that I look at things with managing the shop, the way that I handle situations. I mean, I've texted you before about issues just to see how like you would handle them.
Yeah.
Because I value your feedback on that, and I value your perspective on managing. You know, they're very different kind of shops that we're managing, but
Yeah.
there's so much in the way that you treat people, the way that you handle issues, the way that you work that's similar to the way that I do things. And it's a lot of the stuff I do now is because of the way that you managed me.
Yeah.
And
that's
so,
awesome. Yeah.
you know, it's a lot of like kind of when you said like he's too nice to people, like I find that a lot in myself. Like I'm very nice, trying to see like the positive side of things.
Yeah.
I felt like when I worked here, I was like very negative, like woe was me person, and Colton would always be like, hey man, like think of the positive, like you gotta focus on like the good things, like there's so much good things happening, like don't focus on the bad things. And I find myself working with a lot of that with others now. And so I've learned so much from, like there's so much that I've taken from here that I've brought into that new opportunity. And I do continue to learn every single day, because like a new thing will happen that I never thought would happen, like something breaking or someone like not showing up or something like that. And it's always something new, like, okay, how are we going to go about handling this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think you could manage a coffee shop?
Yeah.
He could.
You think?
He could, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it would be fun. I mean, because like I've said before, I wanted to open a coffee shop, you know?
That's
so I think
true.
I could own and manage a coffee shop, and then kind of raise up a manager behind me, someone like yourselves, you know? So,
Yeah.
but I just see potential in people, you know, and especially right from the bat, you know, I see like their integrity and their work ethic. I'm really able to look past any like emotional stuff or physical stuff that they might be going through, or just life in general. and I'm really able to just speak to them and just like be positive. And well, because I've walked through hardships before too, you know, and I've had jobs where, you know, I needed to mature and grow, and I went through those stages, and it was hard, you know. There was some jobs, you know, I almost got fired for because I was just, you know, I was just being either too immature, or I was just getting ahead of myself, and it's just something I needed to learn about myself. So I'm able to just take that, see the person, and really just give what I've learned. Mm-hmm. So,
and that's a gift. That's something I'm still working with, and I think it comes with like age and maturity. Like I'll get there someday with the wisdom that you have, but like it's a real gift you have of like reading people, meeting them where they're at, and managing them from where they need to be managed, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And it helps so much when you just like click with somebody. Like you're like, oh, like we're like the three of us, you know, it's like we just click because we can just be friends, you know. We outside of work, we want to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
Like we want to be involved in each other's lives. And that's so easy to manage a person like that, you know, but also you still got to be a manager sometimes.
Yeah.
And you got to know when to be like, hey, like you need to be manager for a second, not a friend.
That must be the hard part of being a manager, huh?
It's tough.
It is, but you learn, and if you build that trust and that relationship, you learn that person's going to respect you when you have to be like, hey, knock it off. Yeah. Or, hey, you need to step it up here. Or, hey, just don't be negative, you know? So anything like that, it's just learn as you go. Like even now, it's like I still see myself as immature, but each year I'm maturing and I'm learning, and I have all these.
That's crazy that you say that, because you don't seem immature to me in a way where I see myself, or like even Cameron, or even like DJ, like immature. Yeah. There's like stuff that we say that for some reason or another I just cannot see coming out of your mouth for some reason. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Probably not.
Yeah. I think that's what also makes you a good manager, because like even though I'm older than you, you just have a presence of like having more, like, I don't know, I don't want to say age, maybe more wisdom.
Yeah. You're so like cool and collected when it comes to like things, and you're so wise. It was funny, like even before this I had mentioned something about like a relevant topic, like about J. Cole's diss, and he was like, I don't even know what that is. And I'm like, no, he wouldn't, because like he's not focused on immature stuff like that, but I think it's funny.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You're the older brother, right?
I'm the youngest of four.
See, I couldn't have never guessed that.
Yeah.
You would think that he was the older brother, like he's seen stuff and he's been through it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up without a dad, so I mean, you kind of have to learn in that way, kind of like survival. And, you know, I don't come from a family that really communicated, so you kind of just have to learn and go and
makes sense.
And grow up.
That will mature you, yeah, for sure.
But I did. I was, you know, definitely was like, I had my moments growing up, and I don't know. I just have a lot of filters now, and I keep like once I learn something, it just stays with me, and I grow from it, and I hope that it just moves along, and I can pass it on to the next person. You know, so I don't like you both know me. I don't like surface. I think I've actually talked to you both about this. I don't like surface level relationships. When it comes, like if I say I'm your friend, we're gonna be friends, and we're both gonna be open books, and like we're gonna build a friendship that lasts forever.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with friends that, you know, we still have bonds till this day. And when I meet new people, I want to bring you into my life. I want, you know, to be involved in your life and stuff like that. So enough about me, because we're getting off topic.
No, I love hearing it, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's go back to Cameron and just how about your life at Abode? Talk to us about maybe just a few important things that you hold value at Abode, and like some things that you push for compared to a bunch of other shops.
Oh, like how you set yourself apart from other shops?
Yeah. How you set yourself apart, and also, I think we briefly mentioned, like you really wanted to hit on how customer service was a lot more important than just coffee. So
Yeah, like that's the thing I was like most scared about. I'd never had experience in a customer facing role when I got hired, and I didn't know how. I just imagined, you know, a bunch of Karens like, where's the caramel in my latte? You know, like, it's like, it's there, I promise. Like, we put it in there. It's like, no, I need it again. Like, that's how I envisioned every interaction going, which is so wrong. But I didn't know. But it wasn't even in any of our like handbooks or like, you know, it wasn't like taught, but you realized very quick when you start working in a place like that the customer is so important. And it's not just like the customer that's important or the coffee that's important, which those things are very important, but it's the relationship that brings them back at the end of the day. I didn't even try to like make friends with regulars. It's just through seeing them, remembering their name, remembering their order. They were like, oh, like, that's cool. Like, they remember my face and like my name and like they remember what I got last time. Like, that's crazy. And like the way that people respond to that is like, that's the biggest thing that I think we do. None of us have told one another, and I don't tell people like, you need to remember people's names, you need to remember their orders, or like how they like their drink, like extra sweet, or they like maybe an extra shot in there or something like that. It's more just like making that connection with people. It like really changes the way that the coffee shop feels. It's not just like a transaction. It's, yeah, like I said, a relationship. You know, I have so many people that come in and it's like, I can type their order before they even open the front door. And it's like, hey, how you doing, Maggie? Like, you're back for your batch brew and your cold brew, like room for half and half in both of those. You know, it's like, oh, hey, I see Sonny walking in, preheat that 16-ounce cup and get a bunch of mocha into that cup. Like, he wants a nice hot chocolate.
I have a question about that, actually. Is there a time where you ever thought to yourself, oh yeah, this customer's coming in, this regular, get his order ready, and then it just ends up not being the order that they want?
It has 100% happened where a regular's coming in and like maybe they've already had coffee or they're bringing coffee to someone else and you already have their drink halfway done or completely finished. And then they're like, yeah, I'm just getting like an iced vanilla latte for my mom. And you're like, but what about that like strawberry matcha that you really get every single time?
Well, there's my free coffee for the day.
Yeah, like that's one of my shift drinks. Yeah. It happens, but it's like, you know, there's like the people that come in at the same times, they hang out for the same amount of time, they do the same work there. Like those people, like making connections with them has like really changed my perspective on coffee shops, that it's like, it's not just about the coffee, which is very important. Again, like the coffee that we use is all direct trade. Like that's something that's very important to the owners and to me, is that like the people at the farm level are getting paid properly for their work and have a good relationship with the roaster roasting their coffee.
Yeah.
And like that stuff is so important to us, but like creating relationships and interactions with customers like that, it changes the whole thing. Like it makes my day, like seeing the same people, like, oh, hey Robert, how you doing? Like, nice to see you. Like, and he's asking me how my dog is, how's my wife, like how are things at the shop, and I'm like, oh, how's your Porsche? You know, like he loves his classic cars, you know, like all that stuff like brings so much life. And I never knew that was part of the process. It just like happened that way. And like, but it's something that we all focus on so hard because like we care so much about our regulars. We care about new customers too. Like if a new customer comes in like 2 days in a row and I'm like, oh hey, you got the like cold brew, like have you tried our flash brew, or like are you feeling decaf today? It's like a little late, like we have a decaf cold brew too. Like it's about getting to know people, making them feel seen, welcome. Like it's not just a transaction, it's a relationship.
It's awesome.
I have two questions. And they're separate, but they kind of like tie into what you were just saying. Have you ever had one of those rude customers before, like come in?
Yeah. And it sucks.
Yeah.
I really struggle with confrontation. Colton would know that. From my time here, I really struggle with like the emotional side in the professional thing, which I think you both would know about me well. So there's been a few times, with other employees too, like they had their own interactions where like you just do all you can to make this situation as good as possible and like stay professional, give the customer what they want. If they want to yell at you, like just let it happen. And just keep doing things the way that you're supposed to do them and stay calm, like don't I feel like your first reaction is to like defend yourself when someone's kind of attacking you or like, oh, you made my order wrong. Like, or how dare you ask me to move my chair out from like the middle of the walkway. Like it's a fire hazard. Like I'm just trying to do my job. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like just staying professional, staying calm, like literally just doing everything you can, like giving them their drink for free or like helping them move or like all stuff like that. It's really just about how you handle the situation. Cause that stuff's going to happen. Tons of people are having different kinds of days that you don't know about. Like maybe someone just lost someone close to them or they had a really tough day at work. Like you can't just assume that people are evil or something. Like everybody's got their own things going on. So
Yeah. I feel like I've been one of those. It's hard because like you're right. It's all perspective and it's all putting your shoes in other people's lives and stuff like that. And I've been in a situation where I never worked at a coffee shop, but I've been on both ends where I was either being the one like kind of being agitated and yelling at whatever establishment I was at, or vice versa. I was the one getting yelled at and like chastised and whatnot. And like having those perspectives of being on both sides of that situation, it kind of makes you realize that this person might just be having an off day. You hope at least that's what you hope, is that this person doesn't really dislike you or maybe doesn't even care about you. Maybe their dog died just recently, just to use as an example. But there are other things like that like really bug me about like coffee shops, and I don't want to name names, but I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on this specific thing. So I was at a coffee shop, very popular one in Escondido.
Ooh, I want names after.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, cool. I want names.
I'll
Or
say
maybe
this.
we should name them and then.
It rhymes with Flames Coffee.
Okay. Yep. And
I was there with my daughter. She just finished a dance class, and there was absolutely nobody in. This ties into my second question, by the way. There was nobody in the coffee shop besides me, my wife, my cousin, and our two daughters. My daughter, my cousin's daughter. Mm-hmm. And they were just running around because like the entrance just has like a little circle area where you order and then you go take a seat. I don't know if you've been in there before, or if you even know what I'm talking about. And they were just running around there having fun, as 3-year-olds at the time would be. And the gentleman, I could see one of the guys just looking at the girls. And I could see that he was getting annoyed just by their laughter and like them running around the shop. Mm-hmm. So they came up to us once they came up to them, weirdly enough, my daughter and my niece, and said, "Hey, could you guys keep it down?" And I was like, all right, whatever. Like maybe they just don't want the girls to be running around or whatever. Safety wise, made sense. So then they were just like laughing at a corner 10 minutes later. And then they came up to us and like, "Hey, we're going to have to ask you to leave if you like can't keep your like girls on the hush," even though there was nobody else in the coffee shop. If there was like somebody like just trying to study there,
yeah,
I would understand. But like, they seemed pretentious enough where like they just didn't want kids laughing or like having fun, or that's not what they wanted their shop to be for some reason or another. So that really turned me off, and like it kind of gave me an idea of like, this is my second question, like what their culture is in a way. Like,
yeah,
they got great food and they have good coffee, but it just seems like, and I think this was a manager at the time after like a couple of days after this happened, I found out it was a manager because I recognized him. It just seemed like they had a culture of like, we want to be like a pretentious coffee shop. That's what I got at least out of it.
I hate that. I hate that for you guys.
Yeah, and
that happened.
it sucked at the time because we really liked their coffee and we really liked their food. But how do you think Abode defines himself as a culture? Like, obviously, I think I know you enough, and I've been in there a handful of times. Colton's been there a handful of times with his daughters. Mm-hmm. How do you think you like define yourself like culture-wise? Like, how do you try to set yourself apart from like other coffee shops? Be friendly and like accommodate the people that are there for like an Instagram post or there for good coffee, or families that just come from like a dance class.
Yeah. Like, there's a shop in our area that's like, it's literally a house. It's down the street from our shop. It's like, it literally is a house transformed into a coffee shop. Mm-hmm. But I feel like what we have is Abode means home. That's kind of the whole point behind what we do. Like, we want you to feel welcome and at home. It doesn't matter if you're like studying. We got outlets for you to like just sit in a corner and like, zone in on what you're doing. If you have like a decent sized family, we got a nice big old couch that most of you can fit on with some chairs around it. Mm-hmm. And like to just feel like you're at home, just like enjoying some coffee and food together. Mm-hmm. We got a big meeting table. Like, are you meeting a bunch of your coworkers after work, or like you have a little meeting, you got something to talk about? Like, come have your meeting at a big table. Like, we're all about like those connections, those relationships, wanting you to feel at home around a good cup of coffee. Like, that's kind of what we've been about this whole time, is like cultivating connections through coffee, through our space, through our baristas. Like, I want everyone to feel at home. Like, we have it all the time where there's like power outages in Wildemar, and a lot of moms and their like little, like 3-year-old kids come in and they do like study time, like teaching them like school stuff. And there's a lot of times where there are kids running around and doing stuff. Like, I'm happy to hear like little kids enjoying themselves like in the shop, like that's music to my ears. We got space inside, outside, like do whatever they want, like it's my job for you to feel like you're welcome here. Like, do what you want. That's, I can't believe that happened to you. Cause like,
maybe it was like a very situational thing. Again, it could have been like this guy was just having a bad day, or he heard just like some bad news. But like, to me, it just like defined them as like, these guys just don't want kids in their shop. I mean, they were literally like doing nothing. But I brought them to Abode. I brought them to other coffee shops, and it was totally fine.
Yeah.
To me, it just didn't seem like they wanted us there, which sucked.
Yeah. Hey, bring your kids, bring your grandparents, bring your moms, dads, aunts, uncles, cousins. Like, we see it all. Everyone's welcome. Like, we have kids running around a lot. Cool. We have like older people that come in and just want their really hot drip coffee. That's cool with us too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not go back to a coffee shop like that.
I haven't been.
And I would.
That would be a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. They're the ones getting a Yelp review.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't do that. I don't do the whole Yelp thing also. Like,
but I mean, I've never done it. Honestly, I've never left the Yelp review. Actually, I did for you guys. I give you guys a shout out.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
I think that's the only one I've ever done. Oops. But yeah, and like, you gotta let parents know, like, hey, not a kid-friendly environment.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I should have like some kind of, I don't know, message out there to like, just, hey, these guys kind of like shove me to the side. Hopefully that's not who they are. Maybe they could learn something from it if like they read it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good thing, because it's like, not only do other families know, like, hey, I can't bring my kids here because they can't have fun and enjoy their lives, and you can't really contain your kids. Yeah. I mean, you can, but like,
they're kids.
Like, even when I take my girls to Abode almost like every week now, they love going, having a good time running around, and they love like waving at Cameron while he's behind bar. And, like, come on, if you can't enjoy that and like create that environment for a family, like, I'm sorry, get in a different business, like a business that you don't have customers walking in.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's true.
And another level. Like if you did leave a bad review, maybe the owner of the shop will see that a manager is treating families poorly,
Yes.
and he'll be like,
I read every single review. I check multiple times a week, like it's my bank account. Like, did we get a new review? And then when there is that negative one, which like it always happens, you can't get away from it. We always read it, address it with the team, see what we could be doing better. Like, you know, there's times where it's like the review's completely unfounded, and it's like, okay, this person was having a really bad day. We did do everything that we could to like make them have a good one. But the other ones where it's like, man, we really missed the mark there. Like we addressed that with the team. Like, hey, we need to be a lot better at like cleaning up tables, making this place more presentable, making sure our food temperatures are accurate, making sure our shots are dialed. Like we can't be missing the mark there. And I think I've learned so much working at a coffee shop about the service industry. I never used to tip before I worked at a coffee shop. I don't know.
Sure, dude. I think you taught me how to tip well, honestly.
Really?
I think so. I mean, maybe at least like places that you like to go.
Yeah, but like,
Wait, let me backtrack. You didn't teach me how to tip well. You just, every time I was around your presence, it seemed like if you really cared and liked about the shop you were at, you went out of your way to tip well.
yes, I do that like triple time now.
Really?
But even like even just working in the service industry, like when I go to restaurants now, I used to never stack my plates, wipe down my spot in front of me before I left, like make sure that the table was easiest for the busboy to like take stuff. I used to have the mentality of like, it's their job, like they get paid to do this, like why would I help them?
Right.
I really used to think that way. And then 1 month into working at a coffee shop, I was like, oh, that's why my wife wants me to be cleaning up the table and like consolidating the cups to like stack nicely. Like it made so much sense. And I think a lot of people don't have that experience. And those tend to be the ones that like, you know, treat people not great or have really bad experiences at coffee shops because they're like, wow, you're not listening to me or something. It's like, it gives you a whole new perspective on how life works.
Are you one of those people? Have you seen those memes where like they just like give you like the pad, you're like, oh, just asking you a quick question, and it's like the tipping pad? Do you find yourself in like that situation? You're like, oh, I'm just gonna ask you a quick question.
It's so embarrassing. I'm the kind of person that like, I'm just gonna keep talking to you while we're dealing with it. Like, I know you know that I'm turning this around and there's gonna be a tip question, but like I even take a few steps back. I'm like, so how's your day going? And I'm like, I'm way back here. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's it go? Like, how's your day? You got any plans? Cause like I don't like that pressure of I'm not trying to force you to click the 30% option or anything. Like just tip what you want, you know? I don't look at the tips. I don't care about the tips. Like I'm just trying to like give you a good experience, like see about your day, like maybe you got something cool going on. I've had it where if I take the conversation like one step further, I've like met people that like knew my wife from her job or have like known other regulars of ours. Like, you know, sometimes if you push that a little bit farther, you can like get deeper and like some cool stuff has come from that. But the tipping thing it is weird. But I do, if you ask my friends now, like when we go out to dinner and stuff, I tip kind of ridiculously, like especially if they're doing really good. Cause I'm like, dude, if I was like given 110% at this restaurant and like doing what this person was doing for us, like seeing that like nice tip that I wasn't expecting, like has gotta feel so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that meme before?
Yeah,
like
it's
let me
hilarious.
just ask you a quick question.
Just a few questions.
Like, oh, hey, you dropped this pencil. And then it's like immediately like 10, 20 or 30% tip.
Yeah. I'd be, if I was like if my comedic side of me would like probably do something like this. Hey, we're just going to ask you a few questions.
You just gotta ask you a quick little question.
Yeah.
And just wait to see what they click.
What question?
So
Usually there's no questions.
Usually the tip is the question. We know the question.
Another last question as time's winding down here. Obviously, you have a team. A team is probably very important as much as it is like in our kind of working area. I'm sure like you need a good team behind you when you work at a coffee shop, right?
Oh yeah.
And because you've had somewhat, I think I've asked you this before, but because you had some kind of barista experience at your own home, like for your own pleasure, opposed to like having it be your actual work, this is like a twofold question. One, how important it is, and I think I know the answer to this, how important is it to like have a good team around you when it is like when it comes to running a coffee shop? Secondly, is it easy to train people to be like a barista, like worth a dang, like meaning you know what you're doing, you know what drinks are, you know how to like the different measurements of milk to coffee and such like that. Like how easy is it to train somebody to do that?
I'll start with second question and then end on first question. How easy is it to train a barista? It's really not easy. I think a lot of people have a misconception out there that like, oh, it's a minimum wage job. Like how hard could it be? But it's like, there's so much that goes into it. Like when we're hiring right now, we don't even have the time to consider people that don't have prior experience, because we used to train people from no experience and it just took so long to get them to the point that we needed them to be, like just dialed in and knowing everything. And so coming in with like a solid home experience background like helped so much me getting ready for what we were doing, because like it's not just about like understanding like how to like remembering the recipes for everything, but it's also like knowing how to dial in shots, knowing when they're out of whack and they need adjustment, understanding the origin and why the espresso tastes the way it does, being able to explain to people why the espresso tastes different from Starbucks, why their drink isn't like absurdly sweet, because we don't sweeten stuff as much as other coffee shops, because we want our coffee to shine. And that's just literally the espresso aspect of it. I haven't even gone into understanding pour overs, understanding customer service, understanding prepping our food items, pastries, plating stuff, the stuff that we do in the back, like cleaning, organizing, the stuff that we do up front, bussing, table touching, like, hey, how was everything? Like there's so much that goes into it. It's like, it's hard to hire people. I don't have the eye that Colton has with hiring people. Thankfully, I don't do it alone, but there's so much that goes into it that like I feel like we've struck gold with the people that we have. Like we're so lucky the right people have shown up at the right times hiring wise, because to answer that first question, the team is so important. I can't, on a Sunday morning when we're getting our after church rush, which is like the busiest time of the week, I can't be flying on bar and worrying whether you're asking the right questions at the register. Like, did you tell the customer that the cold foam has heavy cream in it because they got oat milk in their drink? I don't want them to have a dairy thing. Yeah. We can't worry about that. I can't worry that like you have an off second, like, are you thinking to go clean that table that the people just left from? Like, we don't have time for that when it's in crunch rush time. So having the team that we have, like, it's so incredible. Like me, Tabby, Sadi, like 3 people that just like love what they do and are willing to like stay after extra time to like make sure things get done right so the next people are prepared. My shift leads, Thomas and Ashley, like trusting that I know that they're going to do a close the right way so that when I get on Saturday morning, there's nothing I'm worrying about. I'm not worrying if the milk's restocked, like cups are ready, everything like that. Down to like the more recent hires, Evan, Sophie, past employees, you know, all these people that have come in, we've learned so much from them. We also all continue to learn, and we all just back to the title of the pod, we always keep grinding. Like, we're always trying to make people's experience as perfect as possible. And the team it's so important to have a solid team in order to achieve that.
For sure.
Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah, I think that's so key. I mean, especially as you guys, as a shop that's only been open for a little over a year, you know, it's like you guys are just setting yourself up for success. And you're not going to be, you know, in 5 years, that coffee shop that has no values, that their culture has kind of already gotten away from them. You know, the baseboards in the shop or the bathrooms or whatever, they're now crusty and unput together and there's cobwebs. You know, it's like you guys won't have that because you're setting those standards high, and the staff that you're bringing on are going to have your standards and your value. And I think that is what you guys are doing is so great. And I think one time when I was there, you guys asked me, like, so who's the best coffee shop around? I was like, well, you guys.
Loaded question.
Yeah. And I do have my top
Fishing
three.
for a compliment.
Yeah.
But you guys really are, because, yeah, your product's good. You back it up with customer service. The place is clean. It's a good environment. You have kind of just a well-rounded shop. So, yeah, I think you guys, good job. And then good job for you, because I know you and I know what you brought to this place, and I know what you are now bringing to that place, and what you're going to bring for future endeavors. And no matter what you do, you're going to keep building yourself up and be successful in any of that. And even if it's yourself owning a business, if it's a coffee shop you're co-managing, co-owning, a roastery that you're owning, or whatever it's going to be, you're going to keep growing and keep pushing yourself up to be, I mean, as perfect as you can be, to the moon, always be grinding, you know.
Heck
so
yeah.
It's like you're going to have those values and do it right. So
For sure. Well, Cameron, I just wanted to say it's been an awesome and outstanding pleasure to have you on our podcast as our first guest. I'm sure it won't be the last time you'll be on this podcast.
Are we done?
Yeah, we've been chalking it up for a minute now.
Dude, I could go for another, I don't even know how long it's been. I could go for another couple hours if you asked me to.
Yeah, we know that. That's why
I
we
got all
stop.
kinds of things to talk about.
Yeah.
So, you know, like we said, we would be honored to have you back at some point.
Yeah.
Whenever our schedules align again. But thank you so much for coming in. Do you want to plug anything? Or do you want to, like, I'm obviously going to mention your handle and everything. So,
Heck yeah.
Do you want to plug anything while you're here?
Yeah, I mean, just shout out my whole team. I think the only person I missed on the list was like Gavin, the people that I work with, Paola, working next door at Solsara, Carla. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Like, again, thank you to TCR, Colton, Brian, Ed, DJ, Titus. I wouldn't be here without you guys. You guys put me down this path, you know. Yeah, come to Abode. I'd be so happy to make some coffee for you, whatever you'd like. Sweet, unsweet, black, super milky, whatever you'd like. I got you. Yeah, and thanks for having me on. I will be back whenever you need me.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Until next time, y'all.
peace.
Peace.